This is Todd with Struck Accord Firewood. Just started the Eastonmade 1222 this morning. I wanted to go and get some time on it before I put it so I didn't look like an idiot running it. Very few times has a machine exceeded my expectations. This machine here can definitely put out the wood. We can't even keep up with it. It's me and my 15-year-old son. We've been using the 6-way all morning. I did get one log stuck. And the simple fix to that is I put another log underneath it, adjusted the wedge down, and it came free. It was very crotchety wood, if that's a word. So we've been going at it for about 2 hours. This is what we got done. 2 hours, and that's basically learning the machine. We split a lot of wood already. This here would have taken me probably all weekend instead of 2 hours to do before with my Husky with its 25-second cycle time. Anyway, real quick, we're going to show you this thing working in a little bit, but what I wanted to tell you was the 6-way wedge is good. The thing that you got to be careful of, this stand here, when you drop this stand down on level ground, you got to make sure you pull it up when you're moving, but also make sure that the log lift, there's a cylinder under here that controls this thing to lift the log. This here's your wedge. So the cylinder that's under here controls the wedge. You want to make sure that this thing's all the way up when you bring that up. If not, it won't do it. And then make sure this is down when you're putting it on. We've gotten a lot of wood through here. 6-way's probably good for a one pass, 15 to 16 inches. You're good for a one pass, no problem. We were splitting some stuff that was in the 20s, which is probably better for the box wedge. So I have other stuff here that's in the 20s, 24, 26. I'm gonna, when I get the box wedge on there, I'll split that at a later date and show you how the box wedge works. But that's a little bit bigger of wood than you'd like to use for a 6-way, because then basically what you got to do is split it a second time, which slows down a little bit of production. What you want to do when you are splitting and you have to split something a second time, you can actually stack a couple pieces on here. So if you have pieces that are like this big, you can stack 1 or 2 of them on there and then run it through the wedge. So it's not as bad as you might think. One good thing here that I am learning, I like to keep this wedge a little bit lower. Normally I was centering this with the piece of wood, and it was working okay, but then what happens is if you get a big, like a 20-inch log, your big pieces end up on the bottom, and you have a little bit smaller pieces on top. So then what you got to do is you got to throw the smaller pieces off to grab the bigger piece to split it again. So I like to keep it a little bit lower so your smaller pieces are on the bottom, and then if you have a bigger piece that you got to re-split, it's right here on top. It just saves time. They say one thing they don't talk about in anybody's video, it seems, is maintenance. So I just want you to know, grease. It has a Zerk fitting right back here. I don't know if you can see it. There's a Zerk fitting back here. You see it? It's right underneath here. When you extend it, you can get in here from the back. It's on like a 90. The Zerk fitting's on it's a 90-degree angle. So you can get in there with the grease gun. It says for your first 40 hours in the manual to grease it 2 to 3 hours, roughly. This gas tank we've been running, it's still running. We probably got about 2 hours on the tank of gas so far, and that's the whole time. And at first I was like, oh, is this oil cooler going to come on too? Because this is your oil cooler. And it wasn't coming on, and I was like, oh, it's getting lukewarm, and then all of a sudden it kicked on. And let me tell you, this oil cooler is top grade. I mean, it'll blow your hair back. So it's really a good option to have. It ran probably for about maybe a minute or two, and then shut off itself. So as your oil's getting warmer, it'll sense that with the temperature. Other than that, it's been pretty good. So what I'm going to do is we're gonna stop the video right there, and then we're going to set it up on a tripod, and then I'm going to split, and we'll edit it all out, and then show you different ways that we're splitting. One thing that I am learning, when you put the log up on the log lift, if you don't have 4 or 5 logs on there, using it as like a table, and your son's over there and he's bringing them over, rather than slow him down and have him wait, what I do is I bring the log lift up, and as soon as it's up and that log's on there, I lower the log lift again. Then he's able to put it on there, and then we're able to continue if the splitter's ahead of him. Other than that, tricks of the trade, we'll figure it out. And what I'll do is I'm going to video us splitting some stuff, and then we'll edit it out and show you some good stuff, so this way you're not watching a 50-minute video. I will do a full in-depth review, and we will do a time thing. I'd like to do a face cord, since everybody seems to, for Splitter Wars 2020, did a face cord. I'd like to do a face cord I got some ash there. I think everything's under 15, 16 inches. And I just like to show you how fast you can be with this machine. So I'm going to show you how to operate the splitter right now. What I did was I pre-stacked 4 logs. They're roughly about 15 inches a piece. Maybe not the last one, but on the log lift. So I got 4 of them on there. Got the 6-way wedge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start this up, lift the log, and I'm just going to show you the way that this thing splits, okay? Now what you would do ideally, if you want to make good time, is you have somebody else with you feeding you logs. But this here is just for educational purposes on how this thing splits. Let me start it up. That's the 6-way wedge there. That's an auto cycle. This is red oak. The other, I think the first 2 were ash, and then this is red oak. You can see how quick it is, how easy it is to split. I like working from this side of the thing. You can actually, even with that log lift there, work from that side, hit your levers and split. If I was by myself, I would be doing that rather than walk around the machine to save time. But I have my son with me, so he's the guy loading the wood, and then I'm the guy just splitting. So that's about it. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to go. Just so you know, a tank lasts 2 hours at full throttle, splitting the entire time, lasts 2 hours on this Honda. So any questions, put them in the comments, and like and subscribe. Thanks.